Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your patience. We had a couple technical difficulties. Welcome to Patents 101, Learn the Basics. As Andrea just mentioned, put your questions in the chat. We'll stop and answer them. We'll send you the recording and the slides following the presentation. So I'm Cheryl Overheiser. I'm the Patent and Trademark librarian, and I'm also a library coordinator in the Business Resource and Innovation Center, or BRIC, at the Free Library of Philadelphia in downtown Philadelphia. We're the largest of the 53 branches of the Free Library of Philadelphia. I'm also the Philadelphia Patent and Trademark Resource Center representative at the library. And as Andrea said, I'm a former fellow at the USPTO. I spent a year down there living and working from 2017 to 2018. I had a great year. Okay. As I mentioned in the last slide, the Free Library of Philadelphia is a PTRC, a Patent and Trademark Resource Center. What is that? We're one of 83 libraries in the U.S. and its territories designated by the USPTO in Alexandria, Virginia, as a resource for patent and trademark information for the public. The Free Library of Philadelphia has been a PTRC since 1986. Before 1986, the PTRC was across the Parkway in Philadelphia at the Franklin Institute. Here is a picture of our beautiful new Business Resource and Innovations Center, or BRIC, on the ground floor of Parkway Central, where the PTRC and other BRIC services are located. So this used to be book storage area. It was the stacks in the middle of the library, and they pulled out the books and sent them off-site. Now we have this beautiful new space. The PTRC's main focus is on patents and trademarks, but we also include resources for copyrights and trade secrets. We provide information, but not legal services, since we're librarians and not attorneys. The BRIC, a Business Resource and Innovation Center, also has services for nonprofits, job seekers, and businesses. So please check us out. Okay, we're going to talk about intellectual property, or IP. So there's not too many acronyms. I think I've thrown a lot at you, but IP, intellectual property, which is patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets, which are protections for what you invent or create. The type of IP you use depends on what you create. We're going to do a brief review on what the 4 types of IP do. Okay. Patents protect your inventions. Trademarks protect your business brand, like your brand name, logo, or slogan. Copyrights protect artistic creations like songs, poems, books, blogs, photographs, paintings, movies. Also, it can protect computer code and architectural works. Trade secrets protect your business secrets, like a secret sauce recipe, customer lists, production methods. They can also protect an invention, so it's kind of an alternative to patents. We're going to focus on patents today in this presentation. What are patents? Here is a definition with the important words highlighted. A patent is a property right obtained from the U.S. government to exclude others from making, using, offering for sale, or importing an invention for a limited period of time, either 15 or 20 years, in exchange for public disclosure. So let's break this down a little bit. The words exclude others mean that you don't necessarily have the right to make, use, sell, and import your invention, but to exclude others from doing so. What does that mean? For example, let's say you were granted a patent for an amazing new idea, putting an eraser on the tip of a pencil. You now have the right to exclude others from making, using, or selling a pencil with an eraser on the tip. But can you sell a pencil with an eraser? Not necessarily. Someone else might have a patent for a pencil, and with it the right to exclude you from making, using, or selling a pencil, whether or not the pencil has an eraser. In this situation, it might be necessary to have a licensing agreement with the pencil patent holder in order to sell your invention of a pencil with an eraser at the tip. Also, the term of your patent is limited and cannot be renewed. After the expiration of your patent, it is in the public domain and anyone can make, use, sell, or import it. And finally, you must make full disclosure on how to make and use your invention in your patent application so that after it expires, anyone can make and use the invention. So what you're doing is full disclosure in exchange for the right to exclude others is what you're getting for your patent. Okay, there are 3 types of US patents: utility, design, and plant. They cover different inventions and have different requirements, coverages, and costs. All US patents are obtained through the USPTO. You need to decide on the type of patent you want before you apply. Here's some examples of the 3 patents, 3 types of patents. Okay, this right here, this guitar support invention received a utility patent in 1985. And yes, that is Eddie Van Halen. Eddie designed a support for his guitar so he could freely do his amazing guitar riffs with both hands by resting it on this little device around his waist. So that's an example of a utility patent, the way something works. Okay, these Oakley sunglasses received a design patent in 1983, and this beautiful peace rose with its pink and yellow variations received a plant patent in 1943. As I mentioned before, patents are not renewable. After they expire, your invention will be in the public domain. Okay, let's talk about the most common type of patent protection, which is the utility patent. Remember the Eddie Van Halen invention. The utility patent makes up 93% of all granted patents. Utility patents protect the way something works. Utility patents last 20 years and cost anywhere from $790 up to $3,160 in application fees. The fees depend on the size of your company, your household income, and how many patents you've applied for in the past. Most independent inventors will qualify for the lowest price, and we'll talk about the fee structure shortly. So here is a patent from 1974 for GPS, the Global Positioning System. I was a little surprised when I first saw this because GPS was invented back in 1974. I mean, that was a lot earlier than I would expect. Utility patents have maintenance fees, which range from about $3,400 to over $13,000 that have to be paid over the 20-year life of the patent. These maintenance fees also depend on the 3 factors I mentioned. So this range depends on the factors I talked before of household income, size of your company, and how many patents applied for in the past. Please note, it will take about 2 years for the USPTO to decide whether or not to grant you a patent. So that's a long time, but it used to be even worse. It used to be 3 years for them to decide, but they're improving. Utility patents are not easy to get. Currently, only 60% of utility patent applications are granted patents. And unfortunately, if the USPTO doesn't grant your patent, you don't get your money back. Yeah. Okay. All right, a utility patent protects the invention of a new and useful process, machine, manufacture, or composition of matter, or a new and useful improvement thereof. Okay, what does that mean? So it has to fulfill these requirements. It has to be in a statutory class, and these are the easiest down to the most difficult as you work down the page. Almost everything is in statutory class. It has to be a process like a heat treatment, a machine, an article of manufacture like a new type of hand tool, a composition like a chemical composition, or the new use for something old. Okay, it also has to have utility. That means it has to be realistically useful. You don't have to supply a model of your invention. You used to have to until 1870. You don't currently have to, but it has to actually work. And your patent application will go to what they call an art unit, and that's a group of patent examiners that are focused on one area of technology. So they're knowledgeable enough that even if you don't send in a model, they can pretty much tell if it's going to work or not, just from your application. It also has to be legal. So that means you can't get a patent on a safe cracking device or something to counterfeit money. They won't give you a patent on that. The next requirement, it has to be novel or new. That means it has to be physically different, a new combination, or a new use of a prior invention. So it's probably a good idea to search prior art, to search for existing inventions anywhere in the world. In keeping with this, you as an inventor have 1 year if you sell your invention or reveal it publicly, like at a trade show, to file a patent application. After 1 year, your invention is no longer considered new. So if you've been selling your invention for 3 years or showing at trade shows for 3 years, it likely wouldn't fulfill the newness requirement for a patent. And then the last one, this is the most difficult requirement. It has to be non-obvious, or sometimes they call it unobvious. And this is the requirement that it has to have new and unexpected results to Fosita. That means a person having ordinary skill in the art. This is sort of like the wow factor or the spark of genius. So as an example, I like to use is something called Bag Balm. If you know any dairy farmers, this is a cream that farmers use on their dairy cows if their skin is sore. But someone found out that if you put this on a man's head who's going bald, it'll regrow hair. So that person was able to get a patent on using Bag Balm for male baldness. So that's kind of like the flash of genius, or sort of the wow factor. Okay, the second type of patent are design patents, which are 6% of all granted patents. So the next two of the three only make up a small percentage. So the majority are of patents are granted are for utility, for the way something works. But design patents can protect the way something looks and not its structural or functional features. For example, here's a design patent from 1915 for a bottle that we now recognize as the iconic Coca-Cola bottle. This soda bottle was granted a design patent on it because it protects not the way the bottle works, but because it works the way as any other bottle, but rather how it looks. So they have these, lines down the side, and that's what they got the design patent on, is the way the bottle curves and then these lines on it. So it works like any other soda bottle, but just because of the way it works, the way it looks, they were able to get a design patent on it. Okay, design patents last 15 years and are easier to get than utility patents. Approximately 77% of design patent applications are granted, and it also takes less time for the USPTO to process, about 18 months. They're cheaper. The costs start at $475, and the fees are also based on the size of your company and your household income. There are no maintenance fees for design patents. Okay. The requirements are similar to those of a utility patent. It has to be an article of manufacture. It has to be ornamental, original, non-obvious, and novel or new. The design patents use a different classification system than utility patents. They use the USPC system. The rarest type of patent is the third type of patent, the plant patent, which is only 1% of granted patents. The plant patent lasts 20 years and has no maintenance fees. Fees start at $575 and have the same basis as size of company, household income, and number of patents of the inventor. This is a poinsettia patent from 1952 that they got for the appearance of the poinsettia, and in particular, its long, wide leaves that overlap. Okay. Plant patents, like I said, have a different classification system than utility, the USPC. So design and plant patents use the USPC system. Utility patents use the CPC classification, and I'll explain why that's important in just a minute. Okay. Remember when I said earlier that if your patent application is not granted, you don't get your money back from the USPTO, and that newness or novelty is a requirement to get a patent? Because of these requirements, it's probably a good idea to search for existing patents before you apply, because the USPTO will not issue a patent when the claimed invention is already public knowledge in some form or fashion somewhere in the world. The search for these existing patents is called a prior art search. Prior art is kind of an odd term because it doesn't have anything to do with art, but it does have to do with the state of the art of technology of your invention. So that's what they think where the term prior art came from. 3 good places to start your search are these free databases available on your home computer: Google Patents, ESPASnet, and the USPTO. Okay. Google Patents is a good place to start your search. It has over 120 million patents from all over the world, which is a lot, but not all existing prior art, because unfortunately that would take forever. So you're going to do a search until you feel satisfied or your attorney feels satisfied. If you wanted to search for everything, it would probably take forever. But so this is a really good place to search because it's from countries all over the world, over 120 million patents. You're going to go to the home page and enter some words, also called keywords, that describe your invention. Okay. So it's another point. If you get a U.S. patent or get a patent, it's going to be for the U.S. and its territories. It's not going to be good across the world, but you do have to search across the world for existing inventions and patents because you have to fulfill the newness requirement. Okay. Say you invented a new type of umbrella that won't turn inside out in a strong wind. You could type in wind-resistant umbrella into the search box right here, press enter, and you're going to get a result list that looks like this. Okay, so here's my terms up at the top. You can search through the list and see what comes up. Google Patents lets you filter by country, whether or not the patent is a granted patent or a published application or a design or utility patent. Okay, so here's a side note that's important. Utility and patent applications are published 18 months after the earliest effective filing date claimed in your patent application. And so applications need to be searched also. Google Patents lumps them together in their databases. Some of these published applications will become patents and some will not, but a published application is considered prior art and in the public domain the same as granted patents. Okay, so this is a little confusing because your application, if it's published at 18 months, will likely be published before a determination is made as to whether or not the patent is going to be granted, which usually takes 2 years. So you're going to file for your application 18 months after the earliest filing date. They're going to publish it, and then probably sometime 6 months or a little bit later, you're going to find out whether or not you're actually going to get your patent. Okay. If you don't want your application to be published because you're like, well, wait a minute, I don't want it out here. What if I don't get one? Because that's the thing, if published applications, some of them are going to go on later to become patents, some are not. They're just going to be published. Okay. If you don't want your application to be published, you can check a box on your patent application saying so, but you then will not be able to file for a foreign patent if you're interested in one. Design patent applications are not published. Okay, if you open up one of the records, you will see something like this. The search words will be highlighted like here. All the U.S. Utility patent records have been updated to reflect the most current classification system, which is the CPC, or Cooperative Patent Classification System, which the USPTO has been using since 2015 for utility patents. If you want to see the patent on the day it was issued, you can click on the PDF, which is right here. So if it was published before or granted before 2015, it might have the old classification system on it, but they've been reclassified over here with the newest CPC classification.
Cheryl,
Okay.
we do have a question. I'm sorry to interrupt. And also just a quick reminder to everyone, please post your questions in the Q&A box and not the chat. It just makes it easier for us to keep track. But the question is the patent covered just in the US or is it protected worldwide?
No, there's no such thing as a worldwide patent. Your patent is only good in the US and its territories. If you want to protect your invention overseas, you have to apply for a foreign patent, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Any other questions? Okay.
That's it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that's it for now. Thank you.
Okay. I think I said chat rather than Q&A, so you can blame me if they're putting them in the wrong place. My bad, sorry. Okay, where was I? Okay. Below these small snapshots, and this is one of the reasons I like Google Patents, because they give you a lot of information, like right on the landing page, without having to go digging. Okay, so the words are highlighted. You can download the PDF, and that's snapshot in time of the day when it was granted. Also, and if it's older than 2015, it's going to have the old classification system, but they have been reclassified. So under these little snapshots, you're going to see these classifications, okay? Take note of what they are, because after you search for a little bit, you're going to start to notice a pattern where the same classifications are going to be repeated for your keyword searches. Okay, so take note of these because they will greatly improve your search. Say, for example, someone invented the same thing that I did to improve the resistance of umbrellas to wind, but they didn't call it a wind-resistant umbrella. Maybe they called it an anti-inversion parasol or a storm umbrella. My search terms of wind-resistant umbrella might not pick up those patents that were called something different. However, you can see in the classification section below, and it's kind of tiny, but it's right here. Here, this classification A45B 25/22 is devices for increasing the resistance of umbrellas to wind. And I'm like, wow, that's exactly what my invention is. By using the classification, I can find inventions similar to mine, no matter what they're called, or even if they're in a foreign language. The CPC classification system, which we started using in 2015, is also used by the European Patent Office, which is composed of more than 40 countries. Okay, so I can take that CPC code and place it in the search box and press enter. Okay, and I'm going to come up with 1,700 results, which is a lot less than, here, let me go up to these other ones. When I first started searching, just using my search terms, wind resistant umbrella, I got over 26,000 results, which is a lot to look through and maybe impossible. But if I do a more defined search using this classification, it takes it down to about 1,700, which is still a lot, but more manageable, okay? All right, so another good place to search. So I would recommend starting at Google Patents. It's got a lot of patents, it's easy to use, and it's a good way to get started and kind of get your feet wet. Okay, it does have 120 million patents, but that's not every patent around the world, and it's not even every US patent. So another good place to search is at the uspto.gov. You can search all US patents, not foreign patents, but you can go all the way back to the first granted patent in 1790. Okay, you have to search two places, whereas Google Patents lumped published or granted patents and published applications together. The USPTO has them in separate databases. Okay, before we get started, so this is a little more inconvenient, but the USPTO is about to roll out a new database that combines these two, PAT-FT and APP-FT. I would say it's going to be any day now, hopefully before the end of the year, but until then, we have to search them separately. And so the new database and these old ones are going to exist side by side for a while, okay? So you have to search PAT-FT separately from App-FT, which is the published applications, okay? So what are published applications again? They're utility patent applications that are published 18 months after your first patent filing date, okay? All right. So here is a search example on USPTO. If you want to start with a keyword search, you could put something like umbrella, and likely any invention like mine is going to have umbrella in the title, okay? And I also could put wind in the abstract field, as likely if it's a wind resistant umbrella, it's going to say that in the abstract of the patent. What is an abstract? It's 130 words or less for each patent that describes you know, the meat of the invention, the most important parts, okay? You can do a keyword search back to 1976, okay? Unfortunately, the USPTO database is not searchable by keyword all the way back to 1790, okay? But there is a way to search. I'll show you in a second. Okay, you're going to get a results list like this, which is in reverse chronological order with the newest patents at the top. You can see that the US currently has over 11 million patents it's granted since 1790. Okay, if you want to search all the way back to the first patent, and like I said, the USPTO has every single US patent that was ever granted back to 1790. And so what you can do is put in your classification, CPC classification. So this is devices for increasing the resistance of umbrellas to wind under current CPC classification. And that's all I have to do. I don't have to put a second one. And I do the drop-down menu back to 1790, okay? All right, so doing that, here's an umbrella patent from 1902 that might deserve a look, because this might be similar to my device. Okay, so, and I can, you know, find this with a classification search. You might want to consider this if it's, you know, is probably if you have, you know, a new type of toaster or another new machine like, you know, like an automobile. It's not going to be back to 1790, but I heard one inventor had a solar water heating device that he applied for a patent for, and he was not granted it because they said, well, someone already invented this back in 1840. So it depends on your area of technology, but it's probably worth taking a look all the way back to 1790 to make sure that your patent wasn't already invented. Okay, you can search for design patents specifically on the USPTO site by searching under PAT-FT, your keyword in the first box, and application type 4 under application type to search only for design patents, all the way back to when they were first designated as a separate type of patent in 1842. You can also search design patents by USPC classification, like D3/5 is the USPC classification for ornamental umbrella designs. To search for foreign design patents called industrial designs, you have to search other databases that I'm going to show you in a minute. So the USPTO site is only for US patents. The published application database application FT has similar searching parameters. It only goes back to 2001, which was when US Utility published the utility patent applications. Okay, here's another database. It's called the SPOSNet It's another good place to search globally for patents. So these, like Google Patents has patents from all over the world. By typing in wind resistant umbrella, I will get patents and published applications from all over the world. So here I have, I put in wind resistant umbrella. You can save patents for further research in MySPOSnet. So if you can look through your results list, and I have over 5,000, and you can go through them one by one by going through the list. And say I see this one, it's a Chinese patent. I think this is worth another look. I can click on the red star and it will save it in MySPOSnet. And you can save 100 patents up to a year. And this is the only database like this that's available as a free public database. So some people, love this one and they go to it first. It kind of depends on what your preferences are. They have a really good help classification system and video. So this is a good place to look. You could look through them all to make yourself feel like you've done a good search, but there's a lot of options out there. And one unique thing about this is you can do a classification search using keywords, and it will suggest possible classifications like this, okay? So you can go here under classification search, it's gonna have a box, and go to the classification system. So I put in wind resistant umbrella under the classification search, and it shows by stars from top working down to the bottom classifications that they think might be good for you. So I put in this and they suggest this A45B 25/00 details of umbrellas. So this is kind of the other way to do it. You could start out with your keywords and then notice the classifications and work from there, or you could start with a classification search and look through and see what the classifications are and search that way. Okay, so here is more about patent classification in a chart type format. Okay, so here's searching techniques. You can search by keywords like wind resistant umbrella, search both granted patents and published application. You can also search by classification like this, devices for increasing the resistance of umbrellas to wind. The classification system used for utility patents is the CPC. We have that in common with the European Patent Office, and it's been in existence since 2015. The classification for plant and design patents are USPC for United States Patent Classification. This is the old system and used to be used for all patents, but after 2015, for utility patents, they went to this new system that's easier to search for worldwide patents. Okay. If you want an expanded list of even more places to search for patents, you can check out some of these resources. Like I said, it's a good idea to do a search before you apply because you're not going to get your money back if they decide your patent doesn't qualify. So you can save yourself money and heartache by doing a search. Now, if you get an attorney, they'll do that for you, but it might be a good idea to take a look yourself first and see what's out there. To search for foreign design patents, which they call industrial designs, you can look at Google Patents, the Global Design Database, and also Design View, okay? So they don't call them design patents, they call them industrial designs in foreign countries. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, there are substantially reduced rates for patents that are available for small businesses, nonprofits, and those who qualify, like many independent inventors, because of income, or if you work for an institute of higher learning, like a college or university, and also if you have filed 4 or fewer non-provisional patent applications in the past, okay? So that's why the regular rate, the walk in the door price currently is this, $3,160. And it goes up pretty much every year, unfortunately. If you're a small entity, which means your company has less than 500 employees or you're a nonprofit, you get this rate. And the cheapest rate, $790 currently, is for a micro entity for four or fewer previously filed U.S. patent applications. If your household income is equal to 3 times or less the median household income, which is currently for 2021, $239,000. So if you have less than that, you could qualify for a micro entity. And also, if your income is primarily from an institute of higher learning, or your patent has been assigned to an institute of higher learning like a college or university, you can qualify for the cheaper rate. Median household income, this comes up sometimes, is the income of a householder and all other individuals 15 years or older in the household, whether they're related to the householder or not. That's the criteria. Median household income times 3. If you're less than that, that's one of the qualifications for the cheaper rate. Okay. Patents are expensive and not easy to get. The good news is there's a cheaper, easier way to get started for utility and plant patents. This is the provisional application for patent. It also has a sliding fee scale, starts at $75 and goes up to $300 with a $50 processing fee. There's less requirements for the provisional patent application. It's good for 1 year and cannot be renewed. It will never grow up to be a regular patent application. So within that 1 year, you must file for a regular, or also called a non-provisional patent application. This 1 year of the provisional application will allow you to use the term patent pending, which will likely help you if you're shopping for investors or manufacturers. You do need to fully disclose your invention, even though there are less requirements for filing. You can shop your invention around to investors and manufacturers and get an idea of its marketability during this 1 year period if you want to. So what does that mean? So say you file your provisional patent application and you start shopping around to manufacturers saying, can you manufacture this and how much is it going to cost? They might say, yep, well, we could, but we're going to have to build a new machine to manufacture this. That's probably going to cost $1 million. And so the unit price is going to be X, okay? Say maybe $200 a unit. And you were hoping to sell it for maybe $50 a unit, so that's not really going to work. They might say to you, well, you know what? If you change this a little bit, we could use our existing machines. We wouldn't have to buy a new $1 million machine. If you change a little bit, we can make it with our existing machines, and we could do it for $10 a unit, okay? So you probably might decide to do that. So you could refile another provisional application during that time to cover the changes in the invention that you're going to make, so you can have it manufactured for a price point that works for you, okay? Okay. Here is what a utility patent looks like. This is an umbrella slicker invention. It's an umbrella. It has these flaps that roll down to keep you completely dry. So it almost reminds me of an umbrella with like a shower curtain around it. So this is, there are different parts of the complete patent. So it has a summary page, a drawing set, background of the invention, brief summary of the invention, brief description of the drawings, detailed description of the invention and the claims. And this one has 18 claims. Okay, so this is the first drawing in the drawing set. Okay, and what they do at the patent office, they look at your drawing sets and they take one that they consider representative of the invention and put it on the front page. Okay. Here's the first figure in the drawing set. There's a total of 6 drawings for this patent. And here's the second one, which shows the flap fully deployed. Okay, so after the drawings, this next page has the background of the invention, a brief summary of the invention, and a brief description of the drawing. So this is something that you would prepare in your regular patent application or have your attorney do, okay? The next page is a detailed description of the invention, okay, see it here. And this goes on for several pages until we get to the claims, which are actually the most important part of the invention. It's the legal boundaries of your invention. So here it is right down here. It's not in tiny writing. It's not like, ta-da, even though it's the most important part of your patent application, okay? The claims are the legal boundaries of your invention. So think of it as building a fence going around your property. You want the fence to go up to the edge of your property, but not into your neighbor's yard because they would tell you to take it down. On the other hand, you don't want your fence to be so small that it only goes around your bird bath. No one would probably object to you having a fence around your bird bath, but it wouldn't give you much protection and you still would have other people's kids and cats coming in your yard. So you want the claims, the legal boundaries of your invention to go as far as they can without going onto somebody's property, okay? So they continue on to the next part of it. Here's all the claims. It goes up to 18. And you can see it's pretty much, it's technical language, you know, the device of claim 1, wherein said umbrella canopy is configured to retract, okay? So it's kind of like an art to write patent claims, and this is probably where an attorney could really be helpful to you. You can do it yourself, but like I said, it's kind of an art to it, and patent attorneys have gotten skilled in this art of writing these claims. The fence that goes around your property so it doesn't have any holes in it, it doesn't go in the neighbor's yard, it's not too small, it's like in the Goldilocks zone, not too big and not too small, just right to provide, to get a patent and provide adequate protection for your invention. Okay, this is what a design patent looks like. Sometimes design patents are called picture patents because that's all they really are. The design patent protects the appearance of an article, but not its structural or functional features. It doesn't protect the way it works. So the design patent has a summary like the utility patent. It only has one claim, okay? So the claim is the ornamental design for an umbrella as shown and described, okay? That's the only claim. And a design patent can only have one claim. It has a description of the drawings and then the drawings itself. And that's all there is to this patent. So it has this front page and then the rest of it is all pictures. So that's why they call it a picture patent. So it's exactly as described. So this is, you know, a little bit different. It's square, it's perfectly flat on top, unlike, you know, most umbrellas kind of curve down. But this is the ornamental features of this umbrella. And they got a design patent on it. Okay. All right. So hopefully everybody's still with me. Here are some useful books about patents.
Carol, we actually have a few questions.
Oh, good. Well, this is a good place to stop.
Yeah, so the first question is, once the 20 years are up, what happens? Are you saying that other companies can create the same product with a different name?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recommend a lawyer?
I'm going to talk about that in just a second.
Perfect. Design patents, will that include clothing, purses, and shoes?
It could, but unfortunately in the United States, we do a really crummy job of protecting fashion, okay? It's very difficult to get a design patent on an article of clothing. It's much easier in Europe and other parts of the world. And so what you're gonna see in the United States, most people only patent like shoes and purses. it's tough. They don't make it easy. It makes it very difficult to get a design patent. But you know, it's not impossible, but it's not easy.
Okay. And then the last question I have is on one of the patents you mentioned paying a fee over the 20 years. Is that correct?
Yeah. So a utility and plant patents are good for 20 years. Design patents are good for 15 years. Okay. For utility patents, there are maintenance fees that you have to pay over the 20-year period. So about every 3.5 years, you've got to pay more money. And the odd thing is it goes up over time. Okay. So you're probably going to end up paying more in the maintenance fees than you did just to get the patent. So what happens is, you know, some patents are in force for 20 years. They pay the maintenance fees to keep them going. But sometimes what happens is after about 5 years, maybe the technology has changed and maybe your invention isn't so cutting edge anymore. Maybe you're not making money off of it. You could just decide, I'm going to let it lapse. I'm just going to let it go. I don't want to pay these big maintenance fees, and you can just let it go. But yeah, so to keep it in force, you have to pay the maintenance fees for utility patents. Any other questions? Good questions.
Oh, that's all I have for now. And then I'm going to leave the one about the lawyer open until it's answered, just so we don't forget about it.
Great. Okay. All right, so here's some helpful books about patents that can help you. There's available through the Free Library of Philadelphia or your local library or Amazon if you want to own your own copy, okay? So this one simple idea, revised and expanded, turn your dreams into a licensing gold mine while letting others do the work. He's like, you know, a nationally known speaker, and he invents things and then licenses them to people. So what does that mean? So you can assign your patent rights after you get it, and that means you're selling them. It's like selling your house. But what if you want to maintain your patent rights? You could license them. And so you're still going to be the owner of the patent, but you're going to let someone else make, use, sell, or import it in exchange for a royalty or licensing fee, okay? Sometimes what people have done is they have a great idea, they get someone to agree to manufacture it, and they get them to pay the patent fees and the lawyer fees and go to the trouble of getting the patent. So that's something that you might be interested in if you have a great idea for an invention, but you don't want to go into business yourself, a licensing deal. This one is another one about licensing, profit from your idea, how to make smart licensing deals. These are good. This is a general resource about the different types of intellectual property. This book, I think, is amazing. It's almost like the patent Bible, if you will. In the 20th edition, Patent It Yourself. It's kind of thick. It costs about $35 on Amazon if you want to have your own copy and mark it up. And it really walks you through every step of the way on the patent process. Patent pending in 24 hours. This 9th edition is recently out, and that's about provisional patent applications. So these books are good and can be helpful to you. Okay, all right. So we're going to talk about foreign patents, but we will get to the lawyer question. Okay, all right. So your U.S. patent is only good in the U.S. and its territories. There are no international patents, unfortunately. If you want to get a patent in a foreign country, there are several options. You can apply to individual countries or through a cooperative program. You can see it's quite expensive, okay? So you can file individual countries or through a cooperative program. Here's a link, and you're going to get the slides to the foreign options from the USPTO when they talk about what you can do to get a foreign patent. It's complicated and expensive. One article that I read said if you're going to apply for a patent in every country in the world, it would be about $2 million. Okay, consider consulting an attorney to get a patent in a foreign country. You can apply to individual countries through the Paris Convention. And these are a couple examples. If you're going to apply in Brazil, the whole process would be about $30,000. In China, it would be about $27,500. So it's pretty expensive. If you want to apply to a bunch of countries, you can go through a cooperative program like the Patent Cooperation Treaty, which covers over 150 countries. So here, for example, if you applied for a utility patent application through the Patent Cooperation Treaty in all these countries, it would cost almost $300,000. Okay, there's a different treaty for international designs or design patents. Okay. All right, so here's a quick chart. I love charts that walk you through the process of applying for a patent either through the Paris Convention or the individual country method and the Patent Cooperation Treaty. The Paris Convention guarantees that a foreigner's patent application will be treated the same way as a citizen of that country. And that means they say, we're not going to give preference to our own citizens. You're going to be treated the same way, even though you're not a citizen of our country, and that they will honor the filing date of the patent in your home country as long as the filing date is made within a certain period of time. So you probably can't say, oh, well, you know what, I want you to honor my patent starting 5 years ago. They probably wouldn't do that, but they will honor the same filing date as in the home country if it's in a certain period of time. Okay, and here are the countries belonging to the Paris Convention, and you can see, you know, the vast majority of countries in the world are a party to the Paris Convention. Okay. So here are the countries that belong to the Patent Cooperation Treaty, or PCT, and you also see it's most of the countries of the world, okay? And hopefully this works. I'm gonna go to this video from the World International IP Organization for the World, seeking patent protection beyond the borders. So let's see if we can get this to work. Let me know if you can't hear it.
If you have an invention with commercial potential, naturally, you'll want to protect it. A patent gives you the legal right to stop others from making, using, or selling your invention. But seeking patent protection can be uncertain and costly, especially if you want protection in multiple countries. After filing a patent application in your home country, there are two options to consider when seeking patent protection in other countries. The first is to take the traditional route and apply for patents in each of the member countries of the Paris Convention. But that means you would need to file separate applications and pay national filing, translation, and attorney fees, all within 12 months from the date of your first application, without knowing much about your chances of having patents granted. The other option is the Patent Cooperation Treaty, or PCT for short, administered by WIPO. With the PCT, you file one patent application in one language at one office within 12 months from the date of your first patent application. This one application has the same legal effect as filing separate patent applications in over 150 participating member countries. The PCT lets you postpone the significant national fees while you learn about the likelihood of having a patent granted for your invention. Used by major institutions and businesses of all sizes, the PCT procedure includes the following features. After filing your PCT application, you'll receive valuable information on your invention's potential patentability, provided by one of the world's leading patent offices. Next, WIPO publishes your PCT application, which informs the public and potential investors about your invention. You'll then have additional time to evaluate the information you receive and decide if and where you want to continue pursuing patent protection. With the PCT, The national filing, translation, and attorney fees are due 30 months from the filing of your first patent application. That's 18 months more than you get under the traditional patent system. In the PCT member countries where you choose to pursue protection, the National Patent Office will decide whether to grant a patent for your invention, taking into account the PCT patentability information. Today, in almost 60% of cases, applicants choose the PCT over the traditional route when seeking patent protection outside of their home countries. In a nutshell, using the PCT gives you a consolidated procedure with multinational legal effect, as well as more time and more information than the traditional patenting route. When you use the PCT, you'll enjoy the benefits of postponing major fees and making informed decisions to best suit your business needs. Whether you are an individual inventor or a small business owner, a university or a global company, the PCT is an essential tool for innovators who want to move their businesses beyond their borders. Talk to your patent attorney about how to take advantage of the benefits of the PCT.
Okay, great. All right, so I have another one from WIPO. It's kind of a weird term. It's the World Intellectual Property Organization. These are the top 10 countries for international patent applications for the last 30 years, from 1991 to 2020. It shows how the world patent landscape has changed over the past 30 years in terms of what countries are filing the most foreign patent applications. There's no sound for this video, so don't be worried if you don't hear anything. Okay, here we go. So you can see the counter starts over here and starts moving through the years and then shows by country international patent applications. So you can see things have changed a lot in the past 30 years. Okay, unfortunately, I have to talk a little bit about scams now. The USPTO advises to always check out the reputation of invention promoters or any request for money. Be aware that requests for fees for patents or trademarks will only come from the USPTO in Alexandria, Virginia, or for a trademark, it might come from a state agency if you decide to pursue a state trademark. Unscrupulous people might try to take advantage of you and either charge you a lot of money for things you could easily do yourself for free. They might outright steal your money or maybe not obtain the type of IP that'll be most useful to you. I had one man tell me he spent up $10,000 on a firm that got him a patent, but it was a design patent, and what he really should have gotten was a utility patent. So I don't want that to be you. So just a word to the wise, just be careful and make sure that you're sending money to where it should go. All right, so here are resources for assistance. What about an attorney for obtaining a patent? You don't have to have one. But if you want one, you can explore these legal resources. 90% of patent applications, patent applicants use an attorney and 10% don't. So you can do it yourself, but most people use an attorney because it's quite complicated. But it's up to you. I mean, they have the book I recommended at Patent Yourself is geared toward people who are going to do it themselves. But that's a really good resource just for anyone. So what you can do for assistance, you can go to a local PTRC like us in Philadelphia. There's a couple in New Jersey. There's also one in Pennsylvania at State College, and there's one in Pittsburgh too. And often, not all of these, not all the PTRCs offer the same services. In Philadelphia, we have classes. We can do one-on-one appointments where we have a Zoom meeting, just you and me, or you and your group. We have office hours with legal professionals at least 4 times a year that you can talk to someone about that. If you want to get legal help in the United States, patent attorneys and patent agents must be registered with the USPTO, and that means they have to have passed the patent bar and be in good standing. And it's a disciplinary board too. So they want to make sure that patent agents and patent attorneys in the US are doing what they're supposed to. So you can go here and look them up. You can put a zip code in to find registered patent attorneys or agents. Agents are not attorneys, but they've passed the patent bar and can present a patent to the USPTO, and they're generally less expensive than a patent attorney. The patent agent would not be able to represent you in court, but they can do everything else. In Pennsylvania, there's a patent pro bono program that came about under the Obama administration, where there's free legal help for people who need it. It's income-based. The Pennsylvania Patent Pro Bono program is located in Philadelphia for the whole state. It is income-based, but you can click on here and see what their criteria is. Now, whenever you get free or pro bono help, you're still going to have to pay the fees, like the $790, but you won't have to pay the legal fees. And they would handle it pretty much from start to finish. The Pennsylvania Patent Pro Bono program does ask you to do a preliminary patent search, but they would also do a search themselves. Here's another resource, Philadelphia VIP, if your business is in Philadelphia. They will help you. It's also income-based unless you're a nonprofit. There are lots of law school programs. Here's one for Pennsylvania. It's at the University of Pennsylvania Law School, where you would have a law school student under the guidance of a professor take on your case and handle it for patents or trademarks. And here's some help from the USPTO. If you click on uspto.gov and go to patents, it gives you a lot of assistance on the website. Okay, like I said, patents can be sold. That's called an assignment. They can be rented out. That's called licensing. And you can also leave them to your heirs. So if you have a patent in force and you pass away, you can leave it to your heirs, and they have the patent rights. Okay, so what other questions do we have? We're almost at an end.
Yeah, so I have a few.
Okay, good.
First one says, is it accurate to say that even if a patent is allowed to lapse by another, it is prior art and could prevent you from getting a patent on similar topic?
Correct. It was a granted patent, even if they let it lapse, it still was a granted patent. And you couldn't pick up the ball and carry it over the finish line to the end of the term. So yeah, it's prior art.
What if a person shows their invention at a show for over 2 years and it is not considered new? Is it best to not apply for a patent? Is the invention protected because it is not considered a new invention?
That's technically, what the case is. What I heard happens is, if you've been showing it at trade shows, the USPTO might not find out about that. But what happens is sometimes your competitors could rat you out and say, wait a minute, they've been showing this at the trade show for 2 years now and it's not new. So, it's up to you. But technically, if it's been out there for more than a year, it's not considered new. And,
In this, I'm not sure exactly of what the
So-
question is. Oh,
So
sorry.
wait, let me just say, you might want to talk to an attorney about that if you've been showing it around for a while, and ask your attorney what his or her advice is. I'm sorry, go ahead, Andrea.
Thank you. Yes, and there's a last one, but I'm not sure what the question is. But it says invent help. I always see that ad.
It's, you probably want to check out the reputations of any invention promoters. Check them out in the Better Business Bureau. The USPTO has a list of, like a warning list, like be aware of this and that kind of thing. You might ask them for references. Just be really clear about what you're paying for. You might ask them how many people that you help actually gets patents. Just be really careful about what you're paying for, and find out what you can expect for your money.
Cheryl, would it be okay to give everyone one last minute to see if anyone comes up with another question?
Sure.
I don't have anything open right now, but thank you everyone, and thank you Cheryl for all this information. For all the attendees, as I mentioned, you will get a link to the recording and the slides for the session. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. If you are already working with an SBDC consultant, they will be your best resource. And as I said, we're just going to give it a minute to see if anyone has a last minute question.
Sure. So here's our contact information, where we are, our phone number, here's our email. You can go to freelibrary.org/patents to see what programs we have coming up. In January, I'm going to do what we call a lunch and learn. And that's like a 1 hour, I think it's January 13th. That's a Thursday, 12 to 1. It's the IP cheat sheet for busy people. So it's just a quick 1 hour overview of the 4 different types of intellectual property: patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets. So you might want to look at that. We have a lot of business programs too, about like writing business plans. If you're a nonprofit or interested in becoming one, you can get information there too. It's freelibrary.org/BRIC, BRIC. We also have career help. If you're looking to change a job or get a job, you can look there, and everything's free. Here is our Twitter handle, FLP Business. You can see what's coming up. So we're open 5 days a week again from 9 to 5. So we're back. Most of our programs are virtual, but we found that the silver lining to that is that more people from far away can come. You don't have to drive 2 hours to Philadelphia and try to find a place to park on the street. You can just come from your office or your couch and visit us and get information.
Thank you,
So I
Cheryl.
generally, go ahead, I'm
All right,
sorry.
one last question. Can I reach you if I need it to? I want to speak on behalf of the SBDC. You can absolutely reach us. If you're already working with a consultant, as I mentioned, they will be your best point of contact. My name is Andrea Hampton, and I head the International Trade Program. So if you were looking to export or needed any assistance with international trade, please feel free to reach out to me. And I'm going to let Cheryl answer the same question on her side.
Oh, if you need more assistance?
Yes.
Okay. Like I said, you can come to the BRIC, and we can help you. We have a very robust business program. We're a PTRC, Patent and Trademark Resource Center, and we have a lot of programming. You can send us an email, you can call, you can have a one-on-one appointment like we're doing here, and I can answer your questions. Reach out to us first. We're free. So, free is good. So it's a good place to start out. Did that answer your question, Andrea? Did I?
Yes, that's perfect, Cheryl. Thank you so much. I don't see anything else coming through the chat or the Q&A box. Again, I wanted to thank you for your time and for doing this wonderful series. We've received wonderful feedback, and we hope to be able to work with you in the future.
Yes, definitely. And thank you for coming and hanging in there. You asked great questions. I appreciate that. A really good audience, and it's nice to be here. And thank you so much for coming.
All right, with that, have a great day, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting for everyone.